Hey, everyone. Lele McIntosh here. And so I am expecting a couple more people, but they have not shown up yet. And I wanted to get this started on time. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into the information that we're going to talk about, which is a simple conversation formula that you can utilize to have conversations with prospects and also to recruit those individuals into your collective business. So one thing that I want you to understand, I've talked about this before in previous videos, um, but today is going to be a lot more intense. And if I get somebody to show up here momentarily, we'll do a little bit of role play too, so you can kind of understand how simple this formula is and how you should be having these conversations with people. Because I just use an example for today. I wasn't able to black out his name, so I'm not going to share my screen and show you the conversation. But I had a gentleman who I've talked to in the past and kind of let him know, hey, you know, first off, we never really had a conversation, and the first thing you're doing is pitching me. I'm not interested, but I did give him some pointers on how to change his approach. It still didn't work because he just spammed me again today and asked me to look at something, and I was like, I'm not interested, and he just got blocked. So what I want you to understand, I'm going to go ahead and use this board behind me. When you are having conversations, it should be very, very relaxed. You should not be thinking on the first conversation that you're going to make a sale, because you will not make a sale. Um, Generally, it takes between 5 to 12 touches with somebody, meaning they could be seeing the content on a blog, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is that you choose to use. Um, they're going to generally see or join you after about 5 to 12 um, exposures. So keep in mind, and I can't remember the stats right off the top of my head, but um, generally, I think I want to say, don't quote me on this because I can't remember completely, but I want to say about 80% of people who do you or do stay in contact with you or are able to see your content regularly will join you. So keep that in mind. Let's get into this formula though, because you're going to be blown away how simple this is. Okay. The first thing that you need to understand is that when you are prospecting or, well, yeah, prospecting is the biggest thing. When you're prospecting, your whole goal is to make a new friend. It's not to sell anything. That'll come later. Okay. That will come later. The whole goal is to make a new friend. So, how do you make a new friend? Think about that. Think about when you were like 5 and on the playground or whatever you were doing. It was so simple to make friends because there was no pressure on you. You're walking up, hey, my name is XYZ. What's yours? Simple as that. I know now as an adult, you probably can't take that approach. Somebody that think something's wrong with you, but you never know, right? So in the social media space, when you are making new friends, if you are, sending friends requests, sending friend requests to people via Facebook, then the second thing you should be doing as soon as they accept your friend request is shooting a quick little message. Hey, how are you today? Thanks for the connection. How's your day going thus far? Simple as that. It's that simple. So you don't want to get right into what do you do and how many kids you have, how many you want to change their state, meaning you want to kind of lighten the mood, have a icebreaker that you use or something that a joke that you're good at, whatever it is. I I've been told I'm a pretty humorous person. So I can pick things that are super random to do that will change somebody's state instantly. And if I get a LOL from them, then I know, okay, good. I'm breaking that ice. They're not going to think I'm weird, for messaging. And most people don't think that anyway if you are approaching the right people, okay? So remember, though, before you can even get into um, the prospecting and things, you need to make sure that you're talking to the right prospect, meaning you need to know your ideal individual anyway. You shouldn't just be contacting anybody. So most people that I contact are already in the industry, so they're more receptive to people sending friend requests in their inbox instantaneously after that friend request is sent. So if you don't have that down, then you definitely need to understand that it's imperative that that you understand who your ideal market is and who your ideal business partner is. Because if you don't, you're just marketing to no one at all. Okay. So, like I said, the first few little back and forth that you have with this individual should be very casual. You should be trying to, change their state. And then you could start getting into the nitty gritty of it, if that's what you want to call it. So, how do you do that? That is a big thing that people struggle with because they think that the first thing you should be doing is, hey, can you take a look at my video? Wrong. Don't do that. That's very unattractive. And all you're going to do is get pushback. That's all you're going to do. And that's not what you want to happen, okay? And then you're going to be kind of known as this pushy marketer that only wants money. And that's not the goal. Remember, your goal is to make a new friend. So, like I said, how do you make a new friend? You ask questions. So, the formula that I use is called, I hope you guys can see me because there's some weird lighting going on. So um, the best, the formula that I use, I'm sorry, I kind of got sidetracked. The best formula that I use, or the formula I use, is called form. It's very simple, okay? What form is I'm just going to come and write this so you guys can see. All right, let me get my clothes fixed here. So, form. The F stands for family. Okay. The O stands for occupation. The R, recreation. And the M, motivation. Or you can even say inspiration, but for this particular formula, you just use form. So as you can see, form right there. It's easy, okay? So let's dive into that a little bit. So one of the things that you want to remember when you're asking about somebody's family, you don't want to get too personal too quick, but it's perfectly okay to ask, oh, you married? Do you have kids? Now, if you start getting too deep, well, how many kids do you have? And how many bedrooms do you live in? That's crazy. Don't do that. But you can definitely ask those two questions so you can kind of get a better idea of their family life, if they're single or married or whatever. The occupation, what do they do full time? What what are their aspirations, for their life, whatever it is? Are they enjoying their job? Whatever it is, you can ask those type of questions. The whole purpose is getting to know them. Recreation, what do they like to do for fun? Me, I'm a big movie person. I like to go to the movies. Um, I like to do a lot of stuff. I like to travel. I am planning on um, going to skydive here soon. Um, I'm going to race a Ferrari here in a couple weeks. So I'm super stoked. Those are my recreational activities, okay? My motivation. What motivates me? Plenty of things, but mainly I like to help people. I have a servant heart. So when I see somebody struggling, even if they're not on my team, that motivates me to help them, whatever. Um, I get inspired by uh, other people that are helpful and that want to, help individuals. But really, just to even go a little bit deeper into my motivation now, if you want to talk about business wise, the reason why I do what I do is because I want to be able to retire my husband. So that's a motivation for me. Um, I want to be able to travel more. I want to be able to do a lot of different things um, that right now I could do them. I literally could. I'm a little bit fortunate because I do work full time from home. But if I were to do them right now, I wouldn't have my husband, and that's the whole purpose. I want to be able to do these things with him. Okay, so those are the type of questions you want to ask. Okay, and if you don't get enough information, it's perfectly okay to ask them, well, tell me a little bit more. But this formula, the formula right behind you, or right behind me, I'm sorry, that you can see on this board, I hope, are or should be your go-to. You should not be pitching people when you first talk to them. That's just insane. So after you move past this, and this could actually happen, just depends on the person. It could actually happen over a few conversations, okay? And the more you get comfortable with that person, the more they start opening up to you, okay? And what I mean earlier when I was talking about um, people won't join you on their first exposure to you, some people will, some people won't. It just depends on the person. But the whole purpose right here, you want them to know who you are and what you're about. Um, and remember, whoever controls the conversation controls the flow, basically, of the prospecting cycle. So I'm not saying you want to be a naked soul. You do want to share who you are with that individual because people join people that they know, like, and trust. So you want to have that factor. In the first few conversations, you definitely need to find 3 to 4 things that you have in common with this person. Me, I'm married. I don't have any kids, but I do have 2 individuals that I sponsor, and I hate to say that they're more like my little brothers than anything, but they can be childlike because they're both special needs individuals. So I know a lot of people can't relate to that, but I definitely get a lot of conversation based off of that, wanting to know more information. How did I get into that and things like that. So that's my family, and that happens to be my occupation. I specialize in helping individuals with special needs to have a more independent life and to be able to do the things that you and I like to do. And like I said, my recreation stuff really kind of stems around them too. I have some daredevils in in my midst. So, we're going jumping out of planes. They're doing that with me, or one of them is. So, it's pretty cool that I get to incorporate my occupation with my family life. And so another thing that I might have in common with people, I'm in my 30s, I like to travel, I like to do all that type of stuff. Those are really common things that you can find pretty quick, during a conversation if you're doing it right. And you just kind of move on. You just keep it moving into that. Or, if you're working full time from home, you're building your business, that's something that you have in common. And people generally will ask you, well, how are things going in your business? Or I try to avoid answering that initially because that is not on my agenda. I don't want to talk about business. I'm trying to get to know you. I don't care about the business part of it yet. Okay. And that might seem a little weird to you, but it's very effective because, first off, I'm prospecting. This person may not even be qualified to work with me, but I wouldn't know that if the first thing I was doing was pitching. Okay. If I didn't take the time out to get to know that individual, how would I know this? So keep that in mind. Not everybody is meant to be your business partner. You don't want to get with somebody that you're going to have to hold their hand and they're just going to be a pain in your ass. I know I don't. So be very mindful that you still have to prospect. Not everybody is, like I said, somebody that you want to work with and that you're going. I don't want to hold anybody's hand. I want somebody that's a self-starter and that is actually in this to work. Okay. Another thing too, and I know this may seem a little, not a little weird, but I just want you to be mindful of this, that when you are prospecting with someone, if you're not in the right headspace, that can come off. Okay. People are mirrors. So if you're like, your vibe is not right, you're probably going to encounter a lot of pushback. And I'm telling you this because, just to be completely transparent, over the last about week and a half, and I'm kind of just now coming out of it, I've been in a complete funk. And because I know that, I was not actively prospecting like I normally would because I was not in the right vibration to talk to anybody. Okay. Until I identified what my issue was and rectified it, it, it just wasn't a smart move for me because I didn't want, that vibe that I had, that whatever was going on with me, to rub off on another person. Okay. And it wasn't that I had an attitude or anything like that. It was just I was not I was kind of having a pity party for a while, but I moved past that. So anyways, be mindful of that. If you're not going to be able to focus your attention completely on that person and take the time out to really do what you're supposed to do with that person, don't do that to you. Don't do that to yourself or that person. Um, so be mindful of that. Okay, be very, very mindful of that. People can tell, especially if it's people that have already had conversations with you in the past, and you contact them trying to follow up or something, and you're a little off. People could tell. So be careful about that. So the next thing I want to get into is, after you've established that rapport, there's a few different ways you can transition into the prospecting and recruiting phase. Okay. Now, this first part, the form, that is prospecting. Okay. But there's a little bit more to it than just the form, because you still want to get to the point where you can ask them without them feeling a certain type of way. Or how much are you accustomed to making, or how much money have you set aside to run your business and things like that. If somebody asked me that initially in the first conversation, depending on who they were or depending on how the contact was made, I'm going to be like, why are you in my pocketbook? I don't know you've met him. Don't, bruh, no. So be mindful that you have to have that rapport. That is so, so important. And form will get you that really quick. Relating to them will get you that really quick, okay, when you're doing that form. Because remember, you want to control the conversation, but you still have to share your naked soul too. So if they say they are married with 3 kids and you're married, you can say, oh yeah, I'm married for X, Y years and I have 2 kids, and talk about your kids. That's common ground. Um, anyways, you get the gist with this form situation, I hope by now. So when you're moving past the simple rapport building, there's a couple different ways that you can, like I said, get into the prospecting and recruiting phase. You can run campaigns on your wall. And when you're running a campaign on your wall, then you're going to have a call to action at the end, such as private message me, I want the top recruiter formula or whatever. And people will literally inbox you, I want the top recruiter formula. So what you're going to do after that is hopefully, let's say it's somebody that you've talked to in the past. You already have that rapport. You're not going to pitch them. And I know that sounds crazy, but you're not going to pitch them. You're going to be their friend. And I mean that by, hey, Sam, how are you doing today? You're going to start that same thing over, okay? But it's going to be a little different. I'm not going to give you the whole gist of the conversation that you should have with them, but like the thing that I want you to take away from this training the most tonight is that recruiting people is not hard. It only seems hard because your ego is in the way and you don't know how to release the ego and just let your naked soul come through and not be worried about a commission or money. Your whole thing and your whole purpose of conversing with people is to be a servant and to help them. So when somebody does inbox you, that's when you want to really start getting into that prospecting and qualifying them. Ask qualifying questions. If you don't know what a qualifying question is, it's pretty simple. How much money have you set aside to begin a business? That's a qualifying question. If they don't have zero, that's not somebody that is qualified to work with you. Simple as that. To me, you're not serious, so I don't, there's nothing I can do. I mean, really, don't contact somebody asking or saying you want to start a business and you don't have money for it. It takes money to make money. How much money are you accustomed to? Because if somebody tells me that they make $1,500 a month and they say they want to get to $20,000, okay, but how much money have you set aside for a business? Then they have an unrealistic number, unrealistic expectations on what they want to do. Sometimes, to me, that can disqualify them. So remember, people still need to qualify. Ask those qualifying questions. And then, go from there. Well, what else would you like to do? Like, what is your goal? What's your vision for yourself and your business? Where do you want to see yourself in 4 to 5 years? Whatever it is that you decide that you want to know about the individual. I mean, everybody has different, not categories, but different, I kind of lost my train of thought, but different qualifications that they have for people that they prospect. So keep that in mind. You need to write that down too. Who do I want to work with, and how am I going to qualify them? What qualities do I want in a perfect business partner, and how can they qualify to work with me? If they don't have a certain amount of money that they can afford each month for the auto shipment or whatever it is that you're doing, then they're not somebody that's qualified, okay? So qualify them, do the qualifying questions, and if they pass those qualifying questions, then it doesn't have to be a long list of questions, okay? Because you're going to get people that will lie to you. Sorry to say, but they are going to lie. And one way to shift through those things is by making sure you have that rapport. Because, like I said, if you jump into it early and ask certain questions too early, you're going to get pushed back and you're probably going to get lied to. But another way to eliminate some of that is like, for example, let's say that you've been talking to Jim now and you have a rapport build with him. You have some rapport and he responds to one of your campaigns that you put on your Facebook wall, or let's say you did paid traffic, whatever, it doesn't really matter. And he says he's interested in your business, but he's doing another business right now and he's doing, he's doing okay with it and this and that. So the next question that you want to ask is, well, who's your sponsor or your mentor? If he doesn't have an answer, okay. How many people do you have on your team? Because remember, he said he's doing pretty good. And if he says he has, let's just say 30, let's be generous. Okay. So how much money are you making? And if he pushes back, 9 times out of 10, he's not telling you the truth. And the biggest thing too is if he's doing so well and he doesn't have a mentor or a upline that he goes to for answers and guidance, he's probably not doing that well either. And if you have watched my videos in the past, you know that I edify my millionaire mentors, Ari, Maccabee, and Darren Little. If I didn't have them, I wouldn't know some of the things I know now. That has definitely changed the way that I market. Okay. So if you run into somebody that says they're doing all this great stuff in their business and they have all these people and they're not willing to give you, answers freely, 9 times out of 10, they're not where they want to be, and they're going to kind of be assholes. And so they're probably not going to be people that you want to work with. So the next step that you would take with those type of people, or just in general, if you get pushback and it's not somebody that, or you offer whatever it is that you're offering, remember you're prospecting them, you qualified them, and now you're going in for the close, the soft close. You don't hard sell anybody, okay? And you're going in for that, then you want to make sure that you have social proof. And even if it's not your social proof, that's okay. It could be proof from your team. If it's your proof, you can share your proof, whatever it is, okay? So that they know that you're a real person that's making real income, and that you've already established that they can trust you, okay, or that they like you, so you know that. So the whole thing is just continuing that cycle all the way through. I'm sorry. I'm going on. So just keep that in mind, okay? So the next thing is, like I said, if you are encountering pushback and they say, well, I can't afford that, or they are still kind of on the fence, provide them with value, with more value. That's all you can do. Just because they say no now doesn't mean that that's a no forever. But what I will tell you, if somebody says that they can't afford it, they're in victimhood. And what I mean by that is that they're addicted to their struggle and they're not ready to move past where they're at currently. That's not anything that you can help them get past. And if you don't get that right now with what I'm telling you, you're going to be in for a world of hurt, and you're just going to keep spinning your wheels. Don't be that person. Don't try to be the Superman or the Superwoman in people's lives, because that's not your job. Okay. Now, what you can do as being a servant leader is to provide them with value to get them to move past that if they can. Some people, like I said, are addicted to that struggle. That's what they know. And that's where they're comfortable at. They may never get past that. And that is not your problem or anybody else's. That's theirs. Okay. So keep that in mind. Now, can this be eliminated? Yes. Not all the time. You're still gonna get people that um, are gonna do that. I'm sorry, it doesn't really matter who you are, but as over time, you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna kind of get this sixth sense for people whether or not they're even worth, talking to or not. So, with that being said, and I'm gonna repeat this again, and I know I say this a lot, but I really want you to understand: know your perfect business partner. Know who that person is. If you're struggling with this, think about who you are. Who are you? 9 times out of 10, your perfect business partner are going to have the same characteristics that you do. So keep that in mind, okay? So, unfortunately, my partners, none of them were able to jump on this evening, and I knew that was a possibility. So I had originally intended to stay on here until 7:30 because we were going to do some role playing to kind of like make it kind of stick. But unfortunately, they're not on here, so I really can't do the role playing that I would have liked to have done. But I really hope that you understand, and I repeated a lot of it, how important it is for you to get that all this recruiting and the simple formula that you can utilize is so simple. Remember, your whole goal is to make a new friend. And you can literally do and close people or prospect and recruit people into your new business after you've established the form and the rapport and that you're somebody that the person can know, like, and trust. After you do this part, you can literally close people into your new business or opportunity or whatever it is that you're doing in 6 to 45 minutes. And I know that sounds unbelievable because I know there's a lot of people out here that are struggling with recruiting. A matter of fact, the majority, the stats are 99, I think 97% of marketers are failing. So think about that. 90% of people that you're going to come in contact with, or 97% that you're coming in contact with, are failing. So when you know that, that's a big deal. And you're only going to find that type of stuff out if how they're really doing in their business by creating that rapport, by utilizing a simple form, the formula behind me, and getting down to the truth, okay? Because like I said, people will lie to you, and you need to be mindful of that, period. So I'm not going to prolong this training because unfortunately my crew could not make it this evening, but we will be on next week discussing a new training topic. And I really hope that you found value from this and that you can start to utilize this in your marketing immediately and see the change. And if you do, let me know. I love to hear how it's changed for you, and if you're able to, change people's state and get some of that information out. Because once you kind of get the little entry down to build that rapport really quick, it will become so easy. And another thing that I suggest that you do initially, depending on how much time you have in your day, try to contact 10 to 20 people a day. New people, not old people, new people. Add 10 to 20 new connections with people that are your ideal business partners a day, and start the form and see how your business changes. I guarantee you it will. So with that being said, I will see you guys next Thursday at 6:30 again And hopefully my crew will be with me um, then. But if not, we'll still get some training done, okay? So anyways, I will see you guys next Thursday. Thanks for watching.